How long are we going to pretend that things are getting better in Kashmir? How long before we admit that Kashmir has slipped into an irretrievable, deep, dark abyss? 2 young men were executed this week and then their videos were uploaded on social media. One's throat was slit and another was shot as he crouched in near darkness. How much more will it take for us to be jolted out of our collective denial? But instead of paying attention to this looming crisis, politicians from all parties played their own little games. New Delhi abruptly and unfairly dissolved the State Assembly as soon as Omar Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti said they were going to join hands. Now, fresh elections are inevitable in a state that may not be ready for them. And instead of hope for a future, Kashmir has been dragged back to a haunted past. Here are 10 inconvenient truths about Kashmir. There is no Modi doctrine for Kashmir. Apart from a failed experiment at forming a government with Mehbooba Mufti's PDP, Kashmir has not even been a priority for this government and in fact will count as one of its top policy failures. In fact, the last time we had a consistent Kashmir policy was during the Vajpayee years. And all of Vajpayee's gains are steadily being undone. The Modi government is playing with fire in Kashmir. For the BJP to tarnish the valley's major mainstream parties as pro-Pakistan just because they have agreed to collaborate weakens democracy and undermines India. For a party that aggressively tom-toms its nationalism, how can accusing your fellow citizens of treason be acceptable? Were Omar Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti not pro-Pakistan when they were your allies? And isn't this narrative only helping Pakistan? Both mainstream and separatist politics stands delegitimized today. The stranglehold of 2 family-run dynasties, the Abdullah clan and the Mufti Parivar, has now turned stale. For now, it may be advantage Omar and Mehbooba. Their dramatic partnership has checkmated both Sajad Lone and the BJP and stopped them from forming a government. But the BJP-PDP alliance of the last 3 years has already done extensive damage, heightening extremist politics on either end. And this week's cynical political machinations by all sides can only hurt Kashmir in the long run. As for the Hurriyat Conference, the self-declared arbiter of Azadi, it hasn't made a new argument or statement in years. Kashmir desperately needs new politics, new faces, new leaders. If political leadership has lost legitimacy, so has the Kashmir issue itself. There was a time when genuine grievances and historical wrongs by the state needed engagement, empathy and redressal. But these have been hijacked by terrorism, intolerance and bigotry, fueled by Pakistan, but worse, by a people turning on themselves. The systemic targeting of Jammu and Kashmir's policemen, 37 of them have lost their lives this year alone, is one example. The execution videos, another. Kashmiris can no longer argue that theirs is a just battle. Radicalism is real. It's not a conspiracy to defame the valley. Before he was eliminated, Burhan Wani's videos called for a caliphate. And so has Zakir Musa, who is still alive and whose mission is to establish an Islamic state. As one senior police officer told me, earlier Islam was a subset of Azadi. Today, Azadi has become a subset of Islam. Islamist politics is feeding off Hindutva politics and vice versa. When 2 Kashmiri truck drivers are attacked with petrol bombs over fake beef rumors, or Muslim cattle traders are lynched elsewhere in the country, or temple politics and name-changing games dominate the headlines, all this only strengthens the hands of extremist Muslim groups in the Kashmir Valley and plays to their strategy of radicalism. Hardline Hindutva helps Islamists, and the other way around too. Yes, they are right-wing trolls. You heard that right. Education is no antidote to militancy or terrorism. The Prime Minister says he'd like to see laptops, not stones, in the hands of young Kashmiris. But here's the hard truth. These laptops will make little difference. An estimated 164 local militants have joined terror groups this year. Many of them urban and highly educated, defining a generation of rage. Manan Wani was a PhD scholar, Newton a school topper, and Zakir Musa an engineer who studied in Chandigarh. Degrees do not matter. Voter turnout is not a measurement of normalcy. Yes, voting is often a statement of courage against terror threats, but many Kashmiris vote more for daily administrative needs than for a resolution of the 29-year-old insurgency. For us to embrace poll numbers is short-sighted, because then when the numbers plummet, as they did to an abysmal 7% in the Srinagar by-poll of 2017, the joke ends up being on us. Television news is a serious enemy of Kashmir. Hashtag warriors in their hyper-nationalism, their lazy and dangerous slotting of people into nationalist and anti-national, their vilification and slander of ordinary Kashmiris everywhere has only hardened positions in the valley. Actually, the irony is that these self-appointed TV patriots are hurting the Indian soldier. If anyone is anti-national, it's them. Their constant othering of Kashmir prevents any progress, any forward movement. And the longer Kashmir simmers, it is the Indian soldier who suffers. In this age of polarization, the Kashmiri right wing and the Hindutva right wing are turning into mirror images of the other. Neither can tolerate a different point of view, and both attack and abuse if you disagree with them. Irony much. And finally, the old cliches about Kashmir are now really worn out. Can you bear to hear one more national leader say the word Kashmiriyat, or one more valley politician lecture us on autonomy, or one more tired speech on winning hearts and minds? These are words uttered robotically on autopilot. Kashmir needs a new language, and above all, it needs new authors. And oh yes, also a fax machine that actually works. See you next week for more News Ka Juice.